Welcome to Newegg, where the price of GPUs is pegged to the cost of eggs.
Yeah, I'd like to get a 5090 to OC.
I'm sorry, we're all out of 5090s, but you can get one in one of our affordable combo packs. Would you like the Gigabyte bundle of shit for $5,972.16? The Zotac combo of crap for $5,651.15? The MSI pack of poverty for $8,700? Or the Asus buck set of ROG for $6,132.95?
Does it come with a bucket?
That's buck set, sir, and it does.
I'll take the bucket of ROG over there.
Okay. One bucket of ROG. So this is only enough to cover the GPU.
Thanks.
Have a nice day. DNH Photo told us it hadn't received a single RTX 5090 as of last week. The Asus TUF has increased from the TUF traditional MSRP pricing, which would be $2,000, to $2,530. That's a gigantic 26.5% increase. And they're not the only ones. We built this table showing others. GPU prices have increased significantly since launch, and the launch was made entirely of paper, something that the guys over at Tracker have helped us investigate. Newegg seems like it's trying to move ancient, rotting inventory by bundling it with GPUs. MSI's website doesn't work, but when it does, you can sometimes only get a GPU by buying it alongside the most expensive modern ATX power supply available on Newegg. System integrators have told us that old tactics of board partners holding GPUs hostage to force attachment of unwanted additional inventory have returned. And it's not getting better, because the 5070 Ti was already seen online for $1,000, which in half of the United States should require ID to even look at. We even put together some of these charts to show the actual likelihood you'll even be able to get one of these if you were to camp out on these sites. The short answer is don't bother. And today we're going to just take a step back and look at the situation and hopefully serve as a gut check or a reminder that if it feels like you're being ripped off, you probably are. And just that reminder of don't get sucked into FOMO for this. Now, does this video help? Does it provide some erudite economist viewpoint of GPU pricing and NVIDIA supply? No. No, it doesn't. It probably doesn't really do much of anything. But sometimes it just feels good to rant about stuff. So you've been informed. That's what's in this video. Enjoy, maybe. Stop right there, criminal scum. Before that, this video is brought to you by the Height Y70 Touch Infinite. We previously reviewed the Height Y70 non-touch series and found its overall build quality to be good and competitive. Now, the Y70 Touch Infinite ships with a custom 14.9-inch IPS touchscreen with a 60Hz refresh rate. The screen connects to your system build and can be used as a showpiece on the angled corner front panel, displaying stats, music players, videos, and more. Height's entire Y70 series now also includes multiple new colors, like the Taro model that you're seeing here. Learn more at the link in the description below. We cover the day one aftermath of the 5090 and 5080 launch in our paper launch video, and it hasn't gotten better. The paper launch has become sort of compressed and corrugated. Sort of like this box, I guess. So we're going to be covering more of the 5090 and 5080 setup, but now we're focusing more on some of the other weird stuff that's going on, like the pricing. And by weird, I mean predatory and anti-consumer. We just want to provide an update on the situation, maybe some catharsis, so that hopefully we can all laugh at the situation when supply stabilizes. Or until we're all what NVIDIA really wants. GeForce Now users. Why own a GPU when you can subscribe to one? We also have some light data analysis on the pricing trends for January, and that's where it gets really interesting. Just like Whose Line, MSRP is made up and performance doesn't matter. And pricing has gotten completely unhinged over the last couple weeks. Scalping will continue until morale improves. And some of the scalping is by first parties. So let's just see what CEO Jensen Huang has to say about all of this.
4 elephants. 1 GPU.
Okay, he's busy. We're here to talk about the NVIDIA RTX 50 situation. It's not the stability one. or the melting 12-volt high power cable one, or the one where if you set the refresh rate on your monitor, then it's a black screen, or the PCIe. You know, it's just about price. It's probably just faster for me to say what it's about. It's about the price. It's not about all the other ones. Those are different. But this chart shows just how pointless it is to try and buy a 50 series GPU. We worked with Trackalacker to obtain some numbers. Trackalacker is a site that Jeremy has been using, and we used it in our paper launch video too. The team over there is trying to help consumers understand pricing behavior and combat bots. They've also been incredibly helpful by sharing some of their data with us. This chart shows the average time in stock for each device. It's measured in seconds of time that the public retail page shows inventory. It's possible that if Trackalacker's automated systems miss an interval, then some of the numbers would be off, but in those instances, the numbers would actually be even worse than what you're seeing here, and they're already bad. We averaged all of this in total across all 5090 and 5080 cards. They're in stock on average for 604.08 seconds, or about 10 minutes. Outliers of longer inventory primarily include first-party board partners. It's obviously not worth trying to even buy one of these cards right now, but let's take a deeper look. This chart shows the time in stock again, but broken out by GPU type. The 5090's shortest time in stock was 26 seconds. There's at least some reassurance in that the combos take nearly 10 times as long to sell at a minimum, but they're still selling in under 5 minutes. The average time until the inventory is out of stock is 413 seconds for the card, or 1123 for the combo. The max in stock option was the MSI the Power Pack, which bundles a $700 power supply with the 5090. More on that later. It's a terrible deal. The 5080 was typically in stock for 554 seconds, but at minimum 5 seconds. But pricing is a big part. This chart shows the pricing as intercepted by Trackalacker in between the restocks. The price has also gone up with time, which we'll get into in the rest of this video. On average, the 5090s have been flagged at $2,723, 36% higher than NVIDIA's now seemingly fake MSRP. But it does kind of fit with fake price generation. The maximum price we clocked was $3,410 for one model, or a 71% hike. That's from first-party sellers, not scalpers, so we're already getting pre-scalped by the partners. Combo prices show how the game is to multiply the revenue from a GPU sale, typically all to one manufacturer in what we think is an inventory purging move. That most expensive combo was $6,138. The 5080 has an average price of 35% higher than MSRP, with a max price of 2.5 times MSRP. Do not spend that much on a 5080. That's even worse than it already is. But high-end cards are especially bad right now. One of the more insulting things about this whole launch is this. Feast your eyes upon it. A significant amount of the restocks have come by the way of predatory bundles. These are primarily being sold by Newegg, but some are even being sold by MSI on its horrible first-party website that implodes as soon as 7 people try to use it at the same time. The worst are the bucket of Asus ROG bundles. That's right, it wasn't just a joke for the intro. That is actually what it's called, and there have been several buckets of Asus ROG so far, and all of them are about $6 grand. On the positive side, you can use the bucket to cry into after you spend $6,000 on it. This $6,132.91 bundle was the highest we saw. It's more expensive than all the 5090 pre-built pre-orders we saw on launch day, and it's not even a full computer. That's right, you spend $6,100 basically to get a GPU, and you don't even get a complete computer out the end of it. For reference, we were able to buy a 5090 pre-built machine from a system integrator, and it was cheaper than this. And it has the whole computer. You can actually, use it. You don't need to go buy another $2,000 of parts. The few people that were able to buy the $6,132.91 bundle would be the happy recipients of an already overpriced RTX 5090 Astral OC, a $700 motherboard, a $260 power supply with 3 reviews, a $260 liquid cooler that is as loud as it is expensive and pointless, a $1,200 monitor, and a handful of peripherals that Newegg will have to physically scrub with an abrasive brush to remove all the dust from since they don't sell any. The mouse has 13 reviews since going on sale 4 years ago. Those are some rookie numbers. That's actually less than a drop in the ROG bucket compared to this Razer mouse with almost 700 reviews, and it went on sale 9 months after that one. The other peripherals are the same story. Look, someone can't get rid of this shit. It's either Newegg or it's the partners. So what they're doing is they're anchoring and attaching a bunch of other crap from the warehouse to a 5090 to try and force people to buy it. And it's going to work. And the reason we bring this up with so much energy is because this has happened before. The last time this happened that we reported on it, Gigabyte was bundling its then exploding power supplies with highly desirable and out-of-stock GPUs. If you wanted to buy the GPU, there was a very good chance you could get one if you bought an exploding power supply with it. That's gonna be our new bundle that we sell on Newegg. It'll be a 5090 and the Gamers Nexus pipe. I was told like I shouldn't say that. YouTube won't like it, so use your imagination. Anyway, in the past, one of the things that we reported on with the previous launch was that some of the retailers and the system integrators were telling us how board partners were holding inventory hostage to force attachment of other products they can't move. You take the desirable thing, and then you take the thing that has crusty dust that has started molding around the box and chewing through the cardboard, and then you put them together, and you have one desirable product that makes a lot more money. The bundles are a nightmare. They include often unwanted items that can't be opted out of, or more importantly, individually returned. Now, from the business perspective, we understand why. They don't want to sell a combo and then have someone return 5 of 6 items because they only wanted the one. Makes sense. The problem with this is if you happen to get a defective unit or something like that, or just like the Reddit post we looked at previously, someone accidentally buys 2 things in the order, you now end up in a situation where in order to get any of the money back, you have to return the whole thing, and there's no guarantee you get another video card after that. So in a scenario where there's highly limited supply, you end up making a choice, and that shitty keyboard you got in order to buy the GPU, it's gonna be better to go through RMA hell for 4.5 weeks, sending it to Asus all over the world to get it replaced, rather than return it through Newegg under the typical 30-day, basically no questions type of return window where it would just typically be refunded. Our favorite one though is this one. It's the MSI Power Pack. We're gonna call it the MSI PP. MSI ran its PP bundle on its own web store. During the 23 milliseconds it worked. The Power Pack bundle had a Gaming Trio OC 5090 and a Meg AI 1600T PSU for $3,350. That's a power supply and a GPU for over $3,000. 2 components. This power supply is the most expensive ATX power supply sold directly by Newegg right now at $700. And it is forcefully attached to the 5090. Look, we get it. They can sell whatever they want. The common argument is you don't have to buy it. And that's true. You don't have to buy it. But this is targeting a very specific type of person. It's targeting a FOMO mentality where someone's sitting there on the site, they see it restock, and they go, this is my chance. I've been waiting for 3 weeks to get this thing. And it starts to become that almost sunk cost fallacy assurance. I'm in this so far. I camped out at Micro Center. I was there for like 6 hours and I was 92nd in line and I've been refreshing these sites. And now I finally caught one right when it landed, when it refreshed. It's $3,350 for a power supply and a GPU. I guess I'll just buy it. And that's sort of that's the type of person they're going for here. That's why the whole thing just kind of grows. So what we're trying to do is just serve as that gut check where it's like, it's okay. You definitely should not buy these. These are atrociously bad value. The companies are aggressively profiting off of them. This is moving the margin really high compared to just the margin of a video card, especially a partner model card where by all accounts they're typically not that high margin. So functionally these bundles are FOMO-laden tactics. They simultaneously put the customer in a compromising position and then unload the dead, undesirable inventory of the party selling it. And we come back again to the exploding power supply situation with Gigabyte several years ago, where sometimes the inventory is so unwanted that it's dangerous. So that's great too. Now, some people will cave in, especially if there's no other listings available. That's what they're going for. But there's very little value to gain in a $700 power supply like this one. You can get a best-in-class power supply for like $250, $300, but it's not all just combo deals. Rising price is the accompanying issue to continued lack of availability. We built this table focusing on the 5090s for now, showing only listings which have had a listed price. Many of these don't seem to have actually been available for sale yet, so their prices may still change. The most severe increase belongs to the most predictably severely increased brand, Asus with their TUF, traditionally a SKU close to or at MSRP. This has gone from $2,000 MSRP to $2,530 on Newegg, Best Buy, and the Asus online store. That's right, they increased it on their own store. That's a huge 26.5% increase, including for their first-party sales, that outstrips the recent 10% additional tariff on goods from China. Price increases from tariffs are usually more than just the tariff itself, due to the chain reaction of cost increasing throughout multiple parts of the supply chain. That said, this feels excessive and like a cash grab, but it's more likely on Asus's head than the retailers. Whether or not this is an actual cost reaction is irrelevant. A consumer, who are all we care about here, doesn't care why the price is what it is. The consumer only cares that the price is bad and there's absolutely no value at that price. They also would care that the price feels misrepresented versus the original. The next highest is the MSI Ventus 3X OC, which increased 18% in price by going from $2,200 to $2,600 in a few places, and $40 more than that on Newegg, just to add insult to injury. The MSI Vanguard SoC Launch Edition is next, now sitting between $2,700 and $2,750. Cards that follow after those include the MSI Suprim Liquid SoC at Best Buy for $2,830. It's one way to interpret Best Buy. That's a 13.2% increase. The Gigabyte Gaming OC at Best Buy is $2,650, a 12.77% increase. And the Asus Astral at B&H is $3,080, a 12% increase, but really, honestly, it's not worth what it was originally either. Notably, none of the PNY listings have had their prices increased, along with a small variety of 5090s at the various retailers. Again, though, this could change once stock actually comes in. Let's take a step back for some perspective. Last generation, the Asus ROG Strix OC RTX 4090 sold for $2,000. Everyone understood that Asus was charging a hefty premium. That's $400 over the base $1,600 price for a 4090 back in the day, which makes it a 25% increase. 41 of the 49 5090s that we tracked are currently at a 25% increase over the base $2,000 MSRP or higher. The Asus ROG Astral OC LC, or liquid cooled, is priced at a completely unconscionable $3,410 on the Asus online store. That positions it as a staggering 70.5% more expensive than a $2,000 option, like the Founders Edition. Even the old Kingpin RTX 2080 Ti was priced at $1,900, which was a $700 bump, or a 58% increase over MSRP. The percentage increase was lower for an actual XOC card, where the guy whose name is on the card would personally help you if you messaged him. That was for all customers of it. The Astral is a poser solution with more guide rails, doesn't do the same thing that the OC cards did back then, and is way overpriced. The $3,080 air-cooled Astrals come in at 54% over $2,000, equivalent to, again, the increase we saw in the overbuilt, liquid-cooled, fully unlocked, and personally supported by Kingpin 2080 Ti that we just mentioned. That clearly plants Asus as the front-runner in gross margin. That's gross as in disgusting in this case. MSI and Gigabyte have the majority of 5090s that they sell in the 30 to 40% increase over $2,000 range. Somehow, Asus has made this look reasonable. Zotac and PNY are generally on the more reasonable end of things by the way this looks. Only 3 listings are currently marked at $2,000 though. There's a PNY card at Best Buy, an MSI Ventus 3X at Newegg, and the Founders Edition at Best Buy, of course. But as someone who reviewed the legendary 1080 Ti's, lots of them back when they launched, I remember the ones that were way too expensive being $750 to $800. So the $800 ones would have been a 14% increase in price. And I remember writing reviews where we railed against $800 or $815 cards because they were just too much of a percent increase proportionally. And apparently, I mean, that's pretty good looking at today. The scalper market is the craziest. Confirmed sales of not just actual cards, but sales of confirmed orders of cards to be rerouted are selling from $4,800 at the lower end to an astonishing $9,500. There was even a 5090 Astral listed from a third-party seller on Amazon for $9,999.99, and shipping isn't even free. That's an extra $7.99. At some point, it's just rude. But scalpers are a known quantity. We contacted B&H Photo, which is a retailer. We actually buy most of our camera equipment from them, and we did so as a customer using live chat support. We asked how we could purchase a 5090. The first response from B&H said, quote, "No, unfortunately, due to very high demand and extremely limited availability, we're unable to accept orders currently. Please click on the Notify When Available button and register your email address. As inventory becomes available, customers will be notified and given an opportunity to make a purchase with a limited time." We asked B&H if they had received any 5090s at all yet, now weeks after launch. B&H said this, quote, "Not yet. We're still waiting on information, but remember, sales invitations will be sent out, so we may not even see them come in." End quote. This was a few days ago. Maybe things have changed since then, but that's still late availability. To say not yet weeks after launch is concerning for a major retailer. We told B&H we'd keep waiting. B&H then simply replied, quote, "We all are. No problem." Even the retailers are frustrated at this, or at least some of them are. The ones who aren't selling buck sets of Asus ROG or whatever. But B&H, we want to just briefly give them credit for sticking to a queue system for its allocation. From what we can tell, it's kind of like a spiritual successor to what EVGA was doing. What EVGA was doing during the first really major GPU shortage with its own system when demand was high with the 30 series seemed pretty well liked. See it referenced a lot lately. So B&H is kind of doing that. And yeah, they sell camera equipment. They sell production equipment. We buy from them whenever we can because they're kind of like a focused retailer, but it seems like this is one of the better things that they could be doing. It also seems like they are likewise frustrated with the supply. Anyway, most of the NVIDIA 40 series is gone from retail. The 50 series is unobtainable vapor or yet to launch. And the 10% of buyers who are willing to give AMD Radeon a chance, and yes, statistically, that is about the percentage that it is. So you can leave your need for validation and how you're a huge AMD supporter below, while I will defer to my favorite clip from the late Gordon Mahon.
Internet, you will disagree. You will piss and moan in the comments all day. You will cry about it, scream about it, go on Twitter and Reddit, and and then you go to buy your NVIDIA card. And the internet, because I know you right now, it's like, yeah, this is like, I only care about value. You know, F you, NVIDIA. You know, what's up with the prices?
Hey, Gordon.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're in a restaurant.
And he was right. That statement remains like a global constant. It will remain right until AMD can have its Zen moment, I guess. But for the 10% of people who are willing to give Radeon a chance, they don't yet know if AMD is going to somehow manage to screw up the 9000 series launch. And that remains to be seen. Even the Intel Arc B580, a lot of the time now, is available only way above MSRP. And even some of the first-party ones that are from board partners are actually sold for like $400+, which is insane. You should not spend that money on a B580. But it's just an awful time to buy a GPU. And like I said in the beginning, you know, so the full transparency to this was the sort of self-awareness of, are we providing some kind of special insight? No, not really. This is not like a testing video where we have some kind of exclusive access to things and all of this equipment and whatever. This is us looking at the situation, and you know, we've been trying to buy cards for testing as well through retail channels. And it's looking at it and it's going, yeah, this sucks. And that's about all there is to it. Yeah, sometimes there's not a lot that could really be gleaned from it or gained. I guess if there's a takeaway we would like to encourage, it's that sort of reminder of try not to get FOMO'd into it, where we say this in all of our major reviews, where for people who, there's sort of a small group of people who truly sort of quote unquote need to upgrade. A lot of times it's people who make money from the card, from their computer, or it's just people who are on really old hardware and it's an escape for you. You want to upgrade, you want to build a new computer because it's fun, it's a good hobby, it's an escape from day to day, whatever that is for you, and all of those are great reasons for it. But the thing we'd caution against is just getting ripped off in an opportunistic way. So in the meantime, there are other options. You can go used. You could try to stretch the life out of the card. And just sort of that reality check of when we look at the charts, a lot of the times, it's like the cards that are a couple generations old, they're still holding on pretty damn well in a lot of scenarios. So yeah, they struggle in some of the high-end, super modern games. As much as it sucks, just don't get pulled into the bullshit conditions right now. So don't buy the buck set of Asus ROG. At least not until they can spell it properly. I mean, come on. You're gonna charge me like $6 grand? You can't even slow down enough to spell it right? Really? That's just insulting. So anyway, I don't know. That's it for this one. I'm sure have plenty more to say. It's absurd. It's just a completely absurd situation right now. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more. If you want to watch something that is encouraging and fun and uplifting and has a nice feel to it, check out our video with the fan tester. Fans have remained relatively affordable. And it's a fun new thing that we're testing. That might kind of reignite some of the interest and everything while we wait for NVIDIA to pull its head out of Newegg's ass. Or maybe it's Newegg has its head in, it's better to not continue exploring where this is going. Kind of like Newegg exploring. You know what, I'm gonna stop. Thanks for watching. We'll see you all next time.